Move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Your European experts at Fox World Travel are ramping up and busy as ever. With the trending spring and summer European travel season, Fox European experts mean you can maximize your time soaking up the warm weather, blooming flowers, and vibrant landscapes without worrying about your travel or missing a moment. Port hop along the Mediterranean with Celebrity or Holland America, or design your own bucket list adventure with Globus. Visit us online or call 866-GO-FOX-GO. Your European immersion awaits.
Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live is back. March 29th at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Join Thanasis Adetokounmpo for a live show that's sure to entertain like none other. Last year, it was a surprise appearance from ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. You never know what Thanasis has planned for 2025. Get your tickets to Thanalysis Live right now. Visit ESPN Milwaukee on Twitter for event and ticket info. It's Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live, presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel and Carbless. Also supported by the Prisoner Wine Company and McDonald's.
Get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval to buy at accunet.com.
The Bucks' next West Coast trip begins in the Golden State against the Warriors.
Hands off to Giannis. Giannis down low, stuffs it down with a one-hand slam.
Our coverage starts tonight at 8:30. We are your home for the Milwaukee Bucks. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
It's 11 o'clock. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Tuesday, March 18th. Your top story, finally back in the classrooms.
I'm Jessica Tighe. More insight soon into what happened at JFK.
Mostly cloudy and mild today. Wide-ranging temperatures, highs in the 40s to the north, 50-ish around Milwaukee, maybe hitting 60 toward the state line. Mostly cloudy and a low of 40 tonight. 49 degrees, mostly cloudy in Milwaukee. At 11:01 from the WTMJ Breaking Newsroom, the school resource officer saga at MPS comes to an end, at least in the courtroom.
Now that SROs have officially started the job, the city of Milwaukee has avoided fines and contempt of court, but the state legislature still wants an insurance policy down the road.
To prevent MPS or the city from backing out of this.
Representative Bob Donovan tells WTMJ he hopes the Senate and Governor Evers will move his bill forward, which threatens financial penalties for noncompliance.
Any law that is passed that doesn't include some consequences for breaking that law isn't worth the paper it's printed on.
Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Some of you are wondering, what exactly does a school resource officer do? The president of the Milwaukee Police Association gives us a rundown.
We're there to enforce the law. We're not there to enforce any policies that MPS has. We don't want to, get in the middle of their policies. We're there to enforce the law when somebody breaks the law. But I don't think that stops the officers from interacting with the kids in a positive way to say, hey, we're here to help you. You're here. You can trust us.
SROs are working in pairs at their assigned schools.
Crews are working on a water main break in West Dallas. The break happened near Greenfield Avenue and 58th Street. Repairs expected to be completed by about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Pavement restoration will happen through Wednesday and Thursday.
President Trump says thousands of government files related to the JFK assassination will be released today under an order he signed during his first week back in office. ABC's Stephen Portnoy has the latest.
The president's announcement that the files would be released today appears to have sparked a scramble overnight at the Justice Department to have attorneys reviewing thousands of papers before they're declassified. Lawyers in the department's National Security Division were emailed just before 5 p.m. yesterday, demanding a second set of eyes on what was described as an urgent project. Sources say the attorneys were up all night, each one scouring over hundreds of pages.
President Trump says the 80,000 files will be released today without any redactions.
Well, 2 astronauts who were stuck in the International Space Station are on their way home. Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams began their journey back to Earth overnight on a SpaceX capsule, expected to splash down in Florida or on the coast later this evening.
And undocking confirmed, Freedom is free of its moorings.
The mission was expected to outlast about 8 days. Wilmore and Williams have been in space for 286 days. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is currently down about 355 points today at 41,486. NASDAQ also way off about 300 points at 17,500. S&P 500 off about 70 today at 5606. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Financial planning at every level. For details, visit annexwealth.com.
A big challenge begins for the Milwaukee Bucks. Stay close. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:04.
This statement has not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
When it comes to my lifestyle and diet, I don't always make the smartest choices.
Touchdown! Woo! Hey, how about another round and some more chips?
But when it comes to taking care of my liver, I do make one very smart choice. Active Liver Tablets from New Nordic. I used to have real issues with my liver, and at my last checkup, my doc was concerned about my numbers. But since adding a once-a-day Active Liver tablet, my gut's better, I feel great, and my doctor's happy. I ask a lot of my liver, so the least I can do to say thanks is a daily dose of Active Liver.
You ask a lot of your liver, so give it the support it needs with Active Liver. You can find Active Liver at Amazon.com, or for a volume discount, visit NewNordicUSA.com. Go to NewNordicUSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. New year, new you, New Nordic.
Brewers opening day is coming up on Monday, March 31st against the Royals. Be here for the first crack of the bat, the first pop of the glove, and that first taste of summer as we celebrate the start of a new season. The party starts pregame with live entertainment and a national anthem performance by singer-songwriter Allison Mahal. Plus, get here early for a special pregame tribute to Bob Uecker. You don't want to miss out on one of the biggest days in baseball. Get your seats for opening day now at Brewers.com.
Being a Pella consultant means helping people build their dreams.
Customers really appreciate just how prepared we are. All the samples, the videos, pictures.
We are with you from start to finish. You literally have a friend from beginning to end and beyond with your project.
Our Pella team simplifies the process, taking time to listen and find the right solution for you. And right now, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 3/31/2025.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. Challenging 5-game Western Conference road trip begins tonight for the Bucks against the Golden State Warriors. Coverage gets underway at 8:30 on WTMJ. Freddie Peralta in line to start the regular season for the Brewers against the Yankees 1 week from Thursday. Former Yankees pitcher Nestor Cortes in line to start Game 2 of that series.
I want to say first week after the spring started, they kind of had me penciled in for that day. I'm excited for that opportunity and hopefully it goes well.
Brewers take on the Mariners this afternoon in Cactus League play. Hear the game on WTMJ with coverage beginning at 3 o'clock. And the regular season is underway. The Dodgers and Cubs from Japan. Earlier this morning, the Dodgers picked up a 4-1 win.
Checking out the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time-saver traffic. Good news. No big crashes to let you know about. It's kind of a day of disabled vehicles, at least so far. Most of them not causing any problems. The newest one is in Milwaukee County, right over there by the Mayfair Collection. 4145 south of Burleigh Street. Left shoulder is blocked due to a car that's broken down.
A wide range of temperatures today, depending where you are in the listening area. You're in the 40s if you're further north of Milwaukee, right around 53 your high in Milwaukee, and we could hit 60s to the south closer to the state line. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a low of 40. Rain and storms likely on Wednesday with a high of 53. It'll really cool off on Thursday with a chance of snow in the morning and a high of 40. Back up to 54 under partly cloudy skies on Friday. 50 and mostly cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:08.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Matzek and Jessica Tighe.
Settling in for Wisconsin's Midday News. Hope your day is going great here. Depending where you are in the listening area, you're having a very different day, right? 40s to the north. It's not a cooler near the lake sort of day. It's cooler to the north sort of day and warmer to the south, but wide-ranging temperatures, a little bit of everything.
But speaking of cooler by the lake, it is that time of the year. which, all of a sudden you want to go up to the burbs. Well, it always depends on the wind, though. But most days you want to go up to the burbs to get a little bit warmer.
When we made the decision to build our house, we were looking at a couple of different areas. One was closer to the lake. The other one was further inland. That was a deciding point for us.
It was?
When I am just pining for a 70-degree day, I don't want it to be 70, 15 miles away from where I live, and 55 where I'm living. So that was a key point.
Yeah, totally a factor. But was it the deciding factor?
Not the deciding factor, but it was a tiebreaker, if you want to look at it that way. 11:09, some big stories that we're following here this morning on a Tuesday.
And now it's time for 3 Big Things on Wisconsin's Midday News.
Number 1, a high-stakes phone call. It's happening right now. President Donald Trump is on the phone with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The topic? The war in Ukraine. The two are likely to talk about the ceasefire deal between the U.S. and Ukraine. Ukrainians watching this very closely to see what comes out of the conversation. ABC's James Longman is in Kiev.
As far as objectives go, the United States clearly will want the Kremlin to agree to this ceasefire. As far as Russia goes, well, it could be argued that they've already got at least one of their objectives, which is to be taken seriously, to be accepted into the international fold, to have relations with the United States normalized.
President Trump is taking this important phone call in the Oval Office. It started at 9 o'clock our time. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about, but the last update is that it's still happening. In fact, I've got my phone right here, and I keep, refreshing. Are they still talking? Yes, the last update. Call still in progress. The White House says, quote, the call is going well.
So just standard phone call, or do they do a FaceTime thing?
They say call.
Call. Well, FaceTime could be a call. Do you blur out the background if you're on a call with somebody in a foreign country?
I feel like if it's a Zoom or something, you say that. You use that noun. But I don't know.
Zoom, right?
Well,
FaceTime.
I'm sure President Trump will tell us if it was.
Okay.
Well, see, I saw that look on his face.
He strikes me as a FaceTime guy.
We'll find out about the details.
Opening day for the Dodgers and Cubs in Tokyo. Did you hear it this morning? Dodgers earned a 4-1 win. That means the Cubs are officially in last place in the NL Central. Never too early to say that. The teams will play again tomorrow. So part of the deal is adjusting, right? The teams left spring training about a week ago, trying to get acclimated to different time zone, different everything. Cubs manager Craig Counsell on how his team adapted to the rhythms and game day in Japan.
Athletes eat a lot. They eat a lot. They eat more than you think. So when the food is different, they complain, unfortunately. But also they need to eat, so they need to get adventurous, and that's what this trip has kind of forced them to do. Again, we talk a lot about get out of your comfort zone, and that's where the good things happen. The food part for a lot of these guys is where it's happened. I think that's a relatable story for anybody that spends some time in a different culture.
He used his words very, very choice there. The food is different. He didn't say it was bad. He just said it was different.
That's important. Yeah, you don't want to offend anybody.
Well, it's definitely different than, I guess, what they're probably used to. For the Brewers, by the way, no overseas trip for them. They will begin the season 1 week from Thursday in New York, which can sometimes feel like a foreign country, taking on the Yankees.
I think it's so fun when you can go overseas and play a game. But yeah, there's a big adjustment coming back. It's not like Sonny and Butch coming back down to earth, but still.
Well, both teams have international players from Japan, including Shohei Ohtani, who's a leadoff hitter and just an incredible baseball player for the Dodgers. So you understand why they did this. Cubs have a couple of players as well from Japan.
Number 3, Summerfest lineup complete. There was just one night left to be announced for the American Family Insurance Amphitheater, and we now know who will perform. This morning, Summerfest announced Bad Omens is the big headliner on Friday, July 4th. So will you wait me out? Or will you draw me out? Too old to know Bad Omens? The quartet is described like this. Bad Omens slithers through boundaries, only to ultimately choke convention in the process.
Okay. Sounds like a family show.
I wanted to know more. I was like, yes, okay. Who wrote that one? I like it. It's very unique. So there you have it. Filling out the Summerfest lineup for the AmFam Amphitheater is Bad Omens with special guest We Are the Romans on Friday, July 4th. Tickets go on sale Friday. And coming up in our next hour, we'll walk you through all the big Summerfest headliners now that the lineup for the amphitheater is complete. We were waiting. It's always a big deal when that final piece of the puzzle gets put into place.
Yeah, and pretty much everything is set aside of a cancellation of some sort. You got the side stage acts all figured out, the amphitheater acts all figured out. You just need summer to get here. That's all we're waiting for.
It's coming. Reel it in.
11:14 on WTMJ. The return of a pair of astronauts from the International Space Station. This has been 9 months in the making. ABC's Jim Ryan joins us after this.
While your little Splash Brothers phase was cool and all, don't forget that the Splash Mountain stands above all.
Lopez going to cast up a long three. And he splashes it through.
The Bucks head to the Bay to take on the Warriors.
Splash Mountain is locked and loaded tonight. The rides are free. 4 of 5 from distance.
Our Bucks Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 8:30. We are the home of the Bucks. WTMJ.
Hey, Greg Matzek here. If you've not figured out your plans for watching all the great things that college basketball's tournament has to offer, you're missing out if you're not going to Potawatomi Sportsbook. You got to check it out. If you've not been there at all, definitely check out the Sportsbook. Stop in tonight or tomorrow. Grab a bite to eat. They've got a wonderful restaurant. Full bar as well. They got a VIP deck with seating for over 200. It's Potawatomi Sportsbook, and you know the games are going to be on, right? Watch some basketball tonight and really settle in for the action on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, really throughout the rest of March and into early April. No better place to watch college basketball. The tournament is coming to Potawatomi Sportsbook. 2,000 square foot video wall and all the other great things that I mentioned. Make your reservations. Get your spot at Potawatomi Sportsbook.
No shortcuts, no compromises, just the job done right. At Exterior Pros, we don't just meet expectations, we crush them. Every nail, every window, every shingle is a step toward your home's next chapter. From the moment we start until that final reveal, we're committed to making your home better than ever. Quality products and craftsmanship you can count on. Go to the pros for your next project. Get started today and save $2,000. Visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274. That's 262-800-4274.
All you have is one chance after an accident, one decision on who to call, one shot to get the help you need. Don't waste it on the one offer you get from your insurance company. Make the one call to Gruber Law Offices. It's the only one you'll need to make. Call us today. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Temperatures all over the place here today. 40s if you're a little bit north in our listening area, right around the mid-50s or so if you're in Milwaukee, maybe in the 60s if you're closer to the state line. Mild temperatures, a little breezy today, overnight low of 40. Chance for rain tomorrow and a high of 54 degrees, then a cool-off on Thursday. Chance for snow in the morning and a high of 40. 50 degrees and mostly cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:16.
Gravity is working against me.
Well, it's a day 9 months in the making, finally, at last. 2 astronauts who were, stranded at the International Space Station. I think that's a fair way to put it. For 9 months, are on their way back to the United States. Amazing. We've been covering this story for all too long. We welcome in ABC's Jim Ryan with the latest. They are on board. Butch and Suni are ready to come back. Yes. And I presume looking forward to it, Jim.
I think you're right. Yeah, although they've said in interviews, you know what, I can't wait to get back up again. And whether they will or not isn't clear. I mean, both of them. These are 60-year-old people. Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore, right around 60 years old, one under and one just over 60. But yeah, they've had long careers, much of it spent in space. Records? No, not really records, but they've been up there this time for 9 months, 286 days by the time this mission is over.
Jim, this was much longer than expected, but the astronauts weren't really stuck, right? I mean, had they been in danger,
right,
we would have been able to go up and get them. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. So they weren't stranded, they weren't stuck. NASA kind of bristles at those terms, but they were there, and it was a much, much, much longer mission than had been anticipated. Originally, 9 days became 9 months, so it was a long time. And what's more, I was able to ask a different astronaut aboard the ISS a couple of months ago about supplies. Aren't these two interlopers, Williams and Wilmore, eating up all the food and using up all the oxygen. Well, there are resupply missions that are going all the time, Jessica. So it's not as though supplies were running low. They weren't. And the stuck is putting it a little strongly.
So who gets the credit for bringing them back, right? The previous attempts have failed for one reason or the other, but somebody had to authorize the vessel to go up and get them. It worked. It got off the ground. So who gets the credit?
Well, probably Elon Musk, considering it's a SpaceX Space Dragon that is bringing these two back. It was a Boeing Starliner that carried them up to the International Space Station, but was having problems with one of its rockets, one of its steering rockets. I think Butch Wilmore actually had to hand fly the thing as it was docking on the ISS way back in June. So Boeing, NASA said, look, we're not going to put these two back on this Boeing Starliner. There could be a deeper problem with it. Well, let's bring it back without a crew on board. And it, by the way, it came back just fine, no problem at all. And it probably would have been fine with Wilmore and Williams on board. But NASA erred on the side of caution, and the space industry being what it is now, there's a big competition among Boeing and SpaceX and every other rocket company out there. So SpaceX decided, the decision was made to send a SpaceX Dragon up to get them again.
So Sonny and Butch are on their way back. What's the timeline for their arrival back here on Earth? What should we all be looking for, and should we be concerned at all?
So the next step, they're floating around about 200 miles above the Earth right now. Their orbit is gradually degrading. There will be another rocket push here in a few hours to get them down into Earth's upper atmosphere. And once they hit the atmosphere, the ship starts to heat up. They're doing many times the speed of sound, obviously. And so the heat, the friction, then the parachutes are fired, and they'll waft, theoretically, gently down into the Gulf just off of Tallahassee, Florida, at 5:57 Eastern time this afternoon. So, yeah, this is probably the most tension that the crews are facing. Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams at this very moment, you know what they're doing, Jessica?
What?
Sleeping.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Taking a nap.
Yeah, do you get jet lag from a flight like this? Like, what's the time change? Like, if you had to go to a different planet, what's the time change? Are they on Eastern time? Do they have moon time?
I think they stick with Greenwich Mean Time, the way that aviation does in this country. I assume that's what they do. I think they do, actually.
Speaking of how they're feeling, though, do we know what the readjustment period is like once they're actually back down here on Earth after being up there for 9 months?
Well, there's a physical readjustment for sure. They'll be in quarantine for a while. Then they've got extensive rehabilitation over the next several weeks, maybe even months, to get their strength back. They've been in weightlessness all this time. And while each day includes 2 hours of exercise to keep their bodies up, their 60-year-old bodies up and running, they do have to do a lot of rehab once they get back down to Earth. And then, there's the social, the emotional readjustment, I suppose, of being back with their families and being back in Houston down by Johnson Space Center. And so, it'll be an adjustment for them. But again, they've both done this for a long, long time. They've done it many times, and I think they're happy to have done it for so long.
Well, they didn't make it for St. Patrick's Day, but they will be back for the start of the Major League Baseball season and the NCAA tournament, and that really has been the goal all along, Jim.
Oh, sure, yeah. Get them here for March Madness.
Right.
Get them here before Easter, and everyone's happy.
Well, really good stuff. And in an uplifting story, yes, they finally welcomed them back later on today. Jim, we appreciate your time. Have a good day.
Thanks, Jim.
Greg. See ya.
Hi, this is Bruce Nemovitz, Senior Real Estate Specialist and founder of Bruce's Team. We understand that moving from your longtime home can feel overwhelming. Ready for a smaller space, warmer climate, want to live closer to the grandkids, or you're just sick of the upkeep? From downsizing to preparing your home for sale, our team has guided over 3,000 families through the transition. Bruce's Team helps you every step of the way. Let us take you from overwhelmed to I can do this. Visit brucesteam.com today.
Save up to 50% on the project, then save so much more on your energy costs. Vince Vitrano for USA Insulation. Apply for multiple generous rebate programs that can cut the cost of home insulation in half. Jeff and his team perform an energy audit to help you qualify. Then the project, filling your walls with quieting, filtering, insulating foam that saves you money on heating and cooling from day one. USAinsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
Is outdoor living limited at your place? Well, imagine a deck, a patio, pergola, fire pit, maybe even an outdoor kitchen in your yard. Outdoor Living Unlimited is a local, family-owned company that consults, designs, and builds these things. They're the best. Let them make outdoor living unlimited in your yard like they did in ours. We are Wisconsin. We live outdoors as much as possible. Make the most of it with help from Outdoor Living Unlimited. See OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
Beer fans, travel lovers, and history buffs, this is your dream vacation. Join me, Sandy Max, on a 10-day journey through Germany, Austria, and the Czech Republic. We'll enjoy Munich's famous beer halls, sip our way through Salzburg's historic breweries, and discover Vienna's culture and craft beer scene. Then end the tour in Prague, where ancient history meets modern brews. From iconic castles to authentic flavors, grab your passport and let's raise a glass to the ultimate beer adventure. Limited spots available. Book now. Email me, sandy@wtmj.com to learn more.
The U.S.-Canada dispute over tariffs looks to be impacting the tourism industry for the summer. Here's ABC's Lionel Moise on Canadians changing their plans.
Airlines affected too. Canada-based WestJet says bookings to the U.S. have fallen nearly 25%. And it's not just Canadians avoiding travel to the U.S. Analysts say a trade war with Europe and other allies could trigger a drop of nearly 11% in travel spending this year.
That's a big deal. Already falling nearly 25% bookings to the U.S. That's huge.
I'm trying to think, Canadians obviously big-time travelers to the state of Florida around this time of year, as are many in the United States. Anybody traveling for spring break, Florida's a hot destination at this time. I wonder about some of the other destinations in the area that may not be or may be more hurt by this. Are there other landmarks that, you and I might pass up, but interested in seeing, like the Smoky Mountains, something along that line? I think there was something in the package that referenced Dollywood, something that I saw earlier today, that they're a little worried in Dollywood. It's a beacon for Canadian travelers. I suppose it's a thing for the United States to visit as well, but
or just to go to New York City. People
right.
love to travel to New York City and take in all the sights. But Canadians are mad. I mean, a lot of people are furious, and there's a lot of patriotism with what they're doing right now. I was listening to a podcast over the weekend, and Made in Canada, those 3 words, you're seeing that all over the place right now because a lot of stores are trying to make sure as much as they can up in Canada that all of their products are made in Canada right now because they're mad about President Trump and his tariffs.
Yeah, we saw some of the whiskey and bourbon being pulled off the shelves in Canada. Remember, some of the coffee shops changed it from Americano to Canadiano.
Yes.
Right? The coffee drink, right? So they're going to that level. Be interesting to see what happens here. There was a time where relations between Americans and Europeans weren't great. So if you were a foreign exchange student traveling to Europe, sometimes you became the beacon for harsh words and criticism. And that folks who had traveled around Europe, backpacking around Europe, would put a Canadian patch on their backpack just so they'd be left alone. So hopefully we're not at that point, but definitely all eyes on America with things happening right now.
But I said they're mad. I mean, angry. You're hearing that word a lot. You have some people, I was talking about the stores and the products and the shelves. You have some stores where their owners are saying, listen, I have a lot of inventory from American brands, and now they're trying to decide, what do I do with it? Like at the end of the day, they invested in that. So they have a lot of money in this inventory. They don't want to just throw it away, but they also don't want to be selling it. So there's kind of this tug and pull as well.
It's 11:27 on WTMJ. News coming up in a few.
Hi, I'm Tony Drake from Drake & Associates. If you save for retirement in a 401k or IRA, let me ask you, do you know how much of that money is actually yours? Or will taxes take a bigger bite than you expected? Right now, taxes are historically low, but with growing national debt and government spending, do you think they'll really stay that way? Many retirees are shocked to realize the IRS might be one of the biggest expenses in retirement. Here's the good news. You do have options. Smart tax strategies can help you keep more of your hard-earned money instead of handing it over to Uncle Sam. At Drake & Associates, we help our clients create tax-efficient retirement income plans so they can enjoy their wealth instead of worrying about it running out. And here's the catch. These strategies work best when you plan ahead. That's why I'm offering you a free retirement toolkit and a copy of my book, Get Retirement Ready, to help you understand how taxes could impact your retirement and what you can do about it. Text TAX to 414-897-9522 right now to claim your free copy while supplies last. The longer you wait, the fewer options you may have. Take control of your retirement today. Text TAX to 414-897-9522. Drake & Associates, helping you keep more of what you've earned.
Drake & Associates LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates LLC does not provide legal or tax advice. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.
Wisconsin's Morning News is here for you every weekday morning starting at 6 a.m. Vince Petrano.
Milwaukee Public Schools begin the week with more lead remediation, a new superintendent, and a court-ordered deadline.
Eric Billstad.
March in Wisconsin means snowfall and wildfires can happen just days apart.
And traffic with Debbie Loziga.
We've got eastbound 94 closed in Jefferson County.
The news you need to know. Wisconsin's Morning News on WTMJ.
It's 11:30. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Tuesday, March 18th. Your top story, voting begins today.
I'm Jessica Tighe. Not everyone is on board with Buc-ee's.
Mostly cloudy, mild temperatures today might hit mid-60s if you're closer to the state line. 53 your high in Milwaukee. You'll be in the 40s to the northern part of our listening area. Mostly cloudy tonight, a low of 40. Rain and storms likely on Wednesday with a high of 53. 50 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Wildfires still a threat in Oklahoma and parts of the Southwest and Midwest today. At least 4 people died in Oklahoma. And tornado outbreaks over this weekend, blamed for killing more than 3 dozen. New storms on the horizon, including a blizzard, are in the mix this week. ABC's Ginger Z has more.
We know there's a lot of wind from Las Vegas to Houston up to Kansas City, but on top of it, you have snow. And when you mix a 60-mile-per-hour wind with the snow, even if it's just 3 inches, you get blizzard conditions. That's why there are blizzard warnings from parts of Kansas and Nebraska right up through Iowa, Wisconsin, and Minnesota.
President Trump and Russia's President Vladimir Putin holding a critical call right now. The U.S. working to get Russia's leader to agree to a 30-day ceasefire with Ukraine. Ukraine's already agreed to that deal. Israeli forces carrying out massive airstrikes today in Gaza. It ends the 2-month ceasefire and killed hundreds. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 11:31. Decision Wisconsin, early voting for the April 1st election begins today in the state.
The early vote period runs from now until March 30th, though each local municipality sets its own early voting process in Wisconsin. Voters who need to register or re-register to vote can only do so at an early voting location through March 28th. Another important deadline is the day before on the 27th. That's the day most voters must make a request for a mail-in absentee ballot by. Those mailing those ballots in should do so at least a week before April 1st to make sure their clerks receive it before 8 p.m. on Election Day. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
A shooting outside a gym in Glendale leaves 1 man in the hospital. A 30-year-old was hurt Monday afternoon when he was shot in the parking lot of Elite Sports Club on Good Hope Road. Glendale police say the shooting was an isolated incident. No threat exists to the public. No one is in custody at this time. Meanwhile, Glendale Mayor Brian Kennedy and the gym's owners say they've been working on safety improvements to the parking lot after a number of car break-ins.
Buc-ee's is planning a northern expansion in Oak Creek, but not everybody in the community is on board. Light and noise pollution drawing significant concern from residents. Several spoke out against the proposal at a hearing earlier this year.
Buc-ee's is a great establishment. I just don't think it was meant to be 1,000 feet close to a residential area. A tourist destination, that's great. We're not Wisconsin Dells.
The Oak Creek Common Council will consider the comprehensive plan land use category as a public hearing later this evening.
We Energy says natural gas continues to be a critical resource as it looks to combine its usage of wind, solar, and gas. Wisconsin Energy Corps' Dan Kruger on Wisconsin's Morning News.
Our portfolio strategy takes the wind and the solar and the batteries and it backs them up with quick start, limited duty, very modern natural gas plants.
Kruger says the utility's proposed natural gas plant in Oak Creek would adhere to strict state and federal guidelines.
The Trump administration has tried to dismantle an agency designed to protect consumers. The U.S. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau was founded to help regulate mortgages after the 2008 financial crisis. Economics professor at the Universities of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, Rebecca Newman, explains more to WTMJ's Spanning the State.
CDOs are collateralized debt obligations, other things like no document loans. And those are some of the things that help to pull the economy into that crisis. And so the CFPB was put into place to look at things like that, to say consumers needed a bit more protection.
The latest report shows the CFPB sent over 1 million complaints about credit and consumer reporting to thousands of companies.
Sports, traffic, and weather next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:34.
The Census Bureau says more than 12,000 Americans turn 65 each day. It's a surge they call Peak 65, the highest number in history. Some Annex clients retire early. Some keep working because they love it. You know why? Because they've got custom plans built by fee-only fiduciaries. They identified their wants and needs, and we went to work. We want to do the same for you. Annex does financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Visit AnnexWealth.com and click the Get Started button.
As clutch of a player to ever play basketball.
It's Dame time on Season 4 of Behind the Bucks on Bucks Plus.
This year I was like, I need to impose myself more on this team.
Explore Damian Lillard's journey to becoming a top 75 player in NBA history.
That's what really had me feeling like this is going to be great.
Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker, and H&R Benefits Consultant. Find Bucks Plus on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Tired of staring at the same old garage door? Vince Vitrano here, Lifetime Door Company, wants to give you a new one for free. Your chance to win by texting GARAGE to the WTMJ talk and text line, 855-616-1620. All you need to do is take a picture of your garage door or get creative. Tell us a story. Register to win, and you can pick the door of your dreams. Valued at up to $8,000, text GARAGE to the WTMJ talk and text line, 855-616-1620. For contest rules, visit our website, WTMJ.com.
Blaine's Farm and Fleet's spring jeans sale is going on now, and we have a great selection of quality name brand denim at unbeatable prices. Right now, get a free $15 Blaine's gift card with every $50 purchase of Lee or Wrangler jeans. Men's Dickies jeans are $5 off, as low as $24.99. And while you're in for jeans, save on all Rain-X wiper blades. Buy one, get one half price. We've got the value you need to do things your way. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Being original.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. A challenging 5-game Western Conference road trip begins for the Bucks tonight in Golden State against the Warriors. Bucks begin the day tied with the Pacers for fourth place in the Eastern Conference playoff race. Here tonight's game with coverage beginning at 8:30 on WTMJ. Freddie Peralta will begin the regular season opener against the Yankees 1 week from Thursday. Former Yankees pitcher Nestor Cortes is in line to start for the Brewers in Game 2 of that series.
I want to say first week after the spring started, they kind of had me penciled in for that day. I'm excited for that opportunity, and hopefully it goes well.
Brewers take on the Mariners this afternoon in Cactus League play. Hear the game on WTMJ with coverage beginning at 3 o'clock. And the regular season is underway for the Dodgers and Cubs. Playing in Japan, the Dodgers picked up a 4-1 win.
Let's get you an update on the roads right now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. We're looking pretty good. I want to cross my fingers for everybody. A couple disabled vehicles out on the system, but not causing many problems. The latest one is the one I mentioned, about 20 minutes ago. It's still out there. 4145 south at Burleigh Street. The left shoulder is blocked due to what they're calling a disabled vehicle. But I'll tell you what, as I take a look at the video, it almost just looks like a construction truck that's out there. So maybe they're considering it disabled, Greg, because the guy's off to lunch.
Oh, that could be. Just leave the truck.
He's not in the car. People are slowing down around the car, but it's like, yeah, it just looks like a construction truck. They do have some barrels around it.
Go get a sub, park the truck on the freeway.
So disabled? I don't know. Off to the side of the road? Indeed.
This report sponsored by Go Right Way. Let them handle your rides to and from the airport. Let Go Right Way handle your rides to and from Mitchell Field or O'Hare airports. Traffic, let them deal with it. Parking, you won't miss the hassles. Reserve today at GoRightWay.com.
Few Few clouds today, mild and breezy with a high of 53 degrees in Milwaukee. Might hit 60 to the south, likely to be in the 40s if you're to the north. Wednesday, cloudy with rain and a high of 54. Some storms are possible. Thursday's high just 40 degrees. 48 and mostly cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:38. Well, it's a huge week of basketball, as we've talked about here. NCAA tournament games coming to Milwaukee beginning later this week. Meanwhile, in Madison, the 109th WIAA State Boys Basketball Tournament begins Thursday at the Kohl Center on the campus of the University of Wisconsin. 20 teams total, 5 divisions, from Freedom to Bonduelle to Tosa to Waunakee, points in between and beyond, Jessica. This is a fantastic tournament celebrating the best in our state at the high school level. Keep an eye on this game Friday. Abundant Life Christian School in Madison will play Sheboygan Lutheran in the Division 5 semifinals. A state title is on the horizon for a school 3 months removed from a shooting that killed 2 before a 15-year-old student turned the gun on herself.
It's one of those things, and I almost hate to say it, but it's true. If you didn't know much about this school before, when you hear Abundant Life Christian School, your mind goes to that shooting. So how nice for that community to have this to cheer for.
And if you recall, the shooting happened on December 16th, so boys basketball was up and running, and they had already played games at Abundant Life at that time. The school closed then shortly after the shooting and reopened on January 10th. And here they are with a chance at a state title. Head coach Mike Thies is the head coach for the boys basketball team at Abundant Life Christian School. He joins us on the line right now. Hey, Coach.
Hello.
Well, thank you for joining us. Can you walk us through what your season has been like? It started with, optimism, tragedy hits, the school shuts down. What has the season been like for you?
Yeah, well, a couple, coming into the season, we were state runners-up last year, and we had a great season. And so, we graduated 3 of our starting guys in the starting 5, and so we had our 2 leading scorers back, and we had some other really nice players, and so we knew we had the potential to be really good again this year. And I always say to the guys at the beginning of every season, there's going to be ups and downs in a year. It could be injury, it could be expectations of how you think this season is going to go for you. And so just it's how you deal with the ups and downs in the season. Be resilient this year. And when you say something like that, you have no idea that something of that magnitude is going to happen. So when it happened, of course, the whole community is just in shock. It's just, several days of just grief and mourning and just like, you're paralyzed. You don't know what to do. And so, basketball just seemed like such a trivial thing at the time, but it was a reason for our team to, continue to get together. And so, we started to practice, not too much longer after the incident. We couldn't get back into the school actually for about 4 weeks. And so we had to find some other places to practice. We had some really, really generous people in the community offering gym space, so we were able to do that, but that was still pretty difficult. And you think about those days after the first few days of practice, and it was really hard to coach. It was really hard for the players to even play because it just seemed like basketball. Who really cares about this, right? It just seemed so unimportant at the time. But what we didn't realize is that we actually needed it. We needed basketball. Our school needed it. We needed it ourselves as players and coaches. Our fans needed it. Our parents needed it. You should have seen the crowds that came out the first couple games we played. I think our first 3 games were all road games, and everybody really came out to that. Our first home game couldn't even be played here. We moved it over to Madison College. They hosted us. But the crowds were phenomenal. They needed something to be passionate about. They needed something to be excited about. And as those were really hard games to play, the first several, we did not play well in those games because well, for a lot of reasons, our emotions were just all over the place. We had moments of silence. We had, teams that would, like, it was just the outpouring of support was so great. We had, teams that were publicly praying for us, even privately. We would pray for us, signs and cards. And it was so great to feel, because usually when you get into a athletic environment, it's competition. It's really intense, but these games just had a really different feel. Like these communities, we had their support. And so it was like, you didn't feel that intense, the games, when the game started, you could definitely knew it was a competition, but it was just a different feeling. It's really hard to explain. So it was like that for a while. It took us a while to kind of catch our breath and get back to kind of what you would consider to be even somewhat normal, for a game environment to be tuned in and locked into each game. But as the season's gone on, we've our chemistry's been good. We've been able to fight through that. And we've just gotten to a place where we're playing awesome right now, and we're playing our best basketball. And just to make it to state, it's like, wow, it's like a fairy tale.
That is so exciting. Coach, I've got to ask you, you mentioned at the start, those first couple of days after the shooting at Abundant Life Christian School were paralyzing, and you really didn't know what to do. But as the days went on, how did you, because I can't imagine being in your shoes, how did you as a coach help these kids continue on?
Yeah, we made sure that the kids knew that, hey, this is our community. This is our brotherhood. And whatever you need from us coaches and each other, we prayed together at every single practice, and we let them know if you're not right and you need a day off or two, certainly let us know that. We're here to help you guys, whatever you guys need, because basketball was not the priority. And honestly, it shouldn't be in life. There's much more important things to life than basketball. And I think we all realized that, but it was also part of the healing process too. So yeah, it's like, as coaches, you don't know what to do either, but at the same time, you never move on from something like this. But the sun always comes up the next day. And so you have no choice but to live on. And so it's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to what happens to you. And we try to get the kids to realize that. And so that's the only thing you can really control, is how are you going to respond? And so as coaches, it's the same way. How do we help these kids? So that was kind of our mentality.
Were any of the players close to the shooting? Did any of them hear anything? Did they see anything? Are there any stories that they told you, oh my gosh, Coach, I just can't believe this happened?
I'd rather not comment on that.
Okay, fair enough.
So the team came together under your direction and maybe the direction of each other as well, right? As student leaders within the school, a school of about 400 students. So you mentioned the outpouring of support you sensed for home games and away games. Does it feel normal yet? Does it feel like now we have a chance to compete for a state title? Have you reached that point where you do focus just on basketball, task at hand? Or is this sort of, larger than life picture still very much present, and you feel like you're playing for something much more than just a state title?
Definitely. You feel like, and I've, one of the things that I've been saying for years, it's more than basketball. That's been our slogan at our basketball camps before. You play for a higher purpose, and certainly we do that because we've got a deep faith in God. And so first and foremost, you play for Him. Who do you represent? You represent your families, you represent God, you represent your school. And so, our purpose is much higher than just winning a state championship or making it to state or whatever the accomplishment might be. We're playing for our school, and we're playing for the Lord. And the guys know that. And so that's been our mentality. It's going to keep being our mentality. It's just, the lights get a little bit brighter. So how much more important to be playing for the right things.
Coach, you guys were state runners-up last year. You knew that you had this in you, that the kids did, the players did. You were ready for this now. What are you expecting from the community as they cheer you on? Because obviously this is a year where the community needs this.
Yes. It's going to be, I mean, we placed an order for T-shirts and sweatshirts, and, there's 500 pieces of apparel coming in, and we just, it's going to be a lot of fans, and it's been great for them because it's something to smile about. It's something to bring us close together again, something to be passionate about. It's going to be awesome.
Well, and you don't have too far to travel either, right? Just head on over, and you get back to work sometime in the afternoon, hopefully celebrating an opportunity to play for a state championship this weekend. Mike, we appreciate your time. Thank you for taking us behind the scenes of what's been a very emotional season for your basketball team and the school in general and the community. And best of luck to you this week and weekend.
Yeah, good luck.
All right. Thank you so much. Go Challengers.
Thanks for joining us. Mike Tighe is the boys basketball coach at Abundant Life Christian School in Madison. So they'll play on Friday. They'll play Friday morning in the second of two semifinal games, and if they win, they'll have a chance for a state title over the weekend.
We'll be cheering them on.
It's 11:49 on WTMJ.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guest, Kohler Services and Outdoor Living Unlimited. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Hey, if you're having an issue with your garage door, want to send you to my friends at Geis? If you've not been to Geis before, you'd be amazed at what I saw in their showroom. Hundreds of doors and openers. They've got something for every budget. They've got brands like CHI and LiftMaster, trusted brands in that space. They even have a custom design room at Geis. Whatever it is to meet your exact needs, Geis has got you covered. And they've had you covered for 70 years, doing it right here in the state of Wisconsin. For swift and reliable garage repair solutions, visit geisstores.com. Stop by the showroom like I did. Check out all the cool stuff they've got right off Barker Road in Brookfield. Don't think twice. Call Geis and visit geisstores.com.
Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed's Sponsored Jobs feature helps you stand out and hire fast. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Your current car, soon to be your old car. A new car? Better start looking. But you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with free credit score and score monitoring on most new consumer checking accounts. Because when you know you need to make a big purchase, knowing your credit score puts you in the driver's seat. You've got this with free credit monitor from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
A cancer diagnosis shouldn't mean we can't make plans. It shouldn't mean living without joy or optimism. Cancer shouldn't be calling the shots. At the Frederick and the Medical College of Wisconsin Cancer Network, we're pushing to put cancer in its place by pulling together teams of leading specialists and researchers who work tirelessly for breakthroughs, who are developing innovative ways to treat every cancer, to treat your cancer. And by providing the largest cancer clinical trials treatment program in Wisconsin, so there are more treatment options and more reasons to be hopeful. So let's keep innovating. Let's keep discovering. Let's push to make every cancer diagnosis a story of survivorship and bring back the lightness of life that cancer takes away. To learn more about breakthrough cancer care, visit frederick.com/cancer.
A buck doesn't buy much unless you're spending it at Griffin. For just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand, $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. We'll even show you the invoice to prove it. Our only requirements, we put them on for you. Buy one or the whole set. The dollar deal from Griffin. Milwaukee, Waukesha, Fort Atkinson, and Jefferson. Griffin. The buck stops here. The deals on tires don't. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers.
Greg and Jessica with you. It's Wisconsin's Midday News for a Tuesday. So college is expensive. I've got 2 young daughters, and we're saving them
up
best we can, right? Well, one of the most prestigious universities in the country recognizes how expensive college is, and they want to help. How generous here. Beginning next fall, Harvard will waive tuition for students of families making $200,000 or less. They'll cover the tuition.
I thought this was great. I mean, it made me take note. I was like, oh, good, look at that. But then my second thought was, but you got to get in first.
Well, that is the sticking point. Yes, housing and other costs for those earning less than $100,000 will be covered along with tuition. So they got a couple of tiers to this whole thing. I dug around on the university's financial aid website. This was kind of a fun exercise. The total all-in costs for a year at Harvard, according to their tools, estimates about $83,000 at Harvard.
So that is adding in the housing, food, health services, and other student
services.
Books,
everything.
Yeah.
Just, living on campus, classes, as a full-time student, right, 12 credits or more, it certainly can fluctuate a little bit. Other schools offering a similar program. This is kind of interesting to me. So Harvard has competition in this space right down the street. They are not the innovator here. MIT, just down the street from Harvard, I've made that walk before, rolled out a similar plan in November. Same terms. Same for the University of Pennsylvania. Digging a little further, the University of Texas system pledged that undergraduates from families with incomes below $100,000 will attend tuition-free beginning next fall. That's the entire system of Texas, which is massive. That is a huge system, including the flagship university in Austin. The catch, as you mentioned, you still got to get in.
Right.
Care to guess the acceptance rate at Harvard?
4%.
You are high.
I'm high?
You are.
I thought it was 3.59% because I looked it up too.
Okay,
so I was like,
so
oh, shoot, I know the answer. But it's not? You got a different number?
You round it up. I was at about 3.5%. Okay, that's the acceptance rate, and it does qualify as the single most difficult university in the United States to get in.
I guess it probably depends on what class you're looking at, because I was looking at applicants for the class of 2028. So the newbies.
Okay, you're looking ahead.
So the school accepted about 4% of.
Wait, they've already been accepted?
You know how many people applied? 54,000 applicants for the class of 2028.
So you're looking at if 100 students apply, roughly 3 will be admitted, right? Just if you want to boil it down. Now, many Ivy League universities populate that list, the most difficult universities to get in. Acceptance rates anywhere from 3.5% to 6%. I, of course, went to the Harvard of the Midwest, UW Oshkosh. It was a little easier to get in. I'm still on the waiting list at Madison. But yes, this is an option, as they describe it, to try and diversify their applicant pool. But under $200,000, that's still a pretty decent wage if you're just under that threshold and an opportunity for free tuition. But again, if you can get in, you can take advantage of this incredible program.
Well, there are talented students who come from all walks of life, all different backgrounds. So I think this is good news. I was kind of curious, too, how many undergrads at Harvard actually need assistance. And they say about 55% of Harvard undergrads receive some type of financial aid right now.
I know 2 people who went to Harvard, former Brewers general manager David Stearns and former Brewers pitcher Brent Suter. Those are the only 2 I know.
Didn't Reese Witherspoon in Legally Blonde get into Harvard?
I think so. Didn't she have a pink resume?
Stuck out like a sore thumb.
Something like that.
That's a good movie, though.
It's 11:56. News coming up.
The Upswing with Jeff Sherman.
Dr. Kimo Ayun, president of Marquette University. When you got that call, walk me through that and how it all happened.
So, Mike Lovell, when I met with him, and I understood his vision, I walked out of that meeting, my very last meeting in the interview process, and called my wife and said, this suddenly got very real.
Weekdays from 10 to 11 on WTMJ. Presented by Horicon Bank, the natural choice for all your banking needs.
I want to tell you about family here. Family and Gruber Law Offices. Family-run business. David and his team do incredible work for you in the state of Wisconsin as one of the largest personal injury firms in the Midwest, helping people and families seriously injured in accidents and standing up for victims to take the burden off their shoulders. It is Gruber Law Offices. Give them a call if you've been hurt in an accident. 414-276-6666. They focus on the legal aspect. You focus on healing. It really is that simple. And there is no fee or cost to call, no cost to consult or retain the firm. Never a fee with Gruber until they win your case. Something they've been doing for 40 years while giving back to the community in so many different ways. Visit gruber-law.com and make that call to 414-276-6666.
Hi, I'm Jim Token, president of the Auto Dealers of Metro Milwaukee. Did you know that Adam members employ more than 7,500 people? Plus, Adam recently completed their 14th annual Feeding America Change Your Oil promotion. To date, Adam has donated over $875,000, which provided over 2.6 million meals. Start your next car search by finding an Adam member dealer at adam.com. That's ADAMM.com.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for Tri-County Contracting. We talk all the time about Tri-County Contracting, the place to go for roofs and siding, but don't forget, Tri-County Contracting also does windows. Need a new front entry door? Tri-County Contracting, or maybe a patio door that's always jammed. Get your free estimates today. They've been helping homeowners like you for 46 years. Tri-County Contracting, WI.com. It's worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting, WI.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
New treatments for joint pain are here. By now you've heard about regenerative medicine. If you're wondering if you're a good candidate, answer these questions. First, does chronic pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or other joints keep you from doing the things you enjoy? Golfing, jogging, time with the family. Does it hurt doing the things you need to do? Like getting out of bed, sleeping, working, and walking. And finally, do you want to avoid surgery and all of the pain, long recovery, and uncertainty that comes with it? If you answered yes to any of those, you need to call QC Kinetics now. Learn about exciting advancements in regenerative treatments that can give you long-lasting pain relief with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Get your free consultation today. Call QC Kinetics. That's QC Kinetics. Here's the phone number.
Call now, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
The Bucks' next West Coast trip begins in the Golden State against the Warriors.
Hands off to Giannis. Giannis down low, stuffs it down with a one-hand slam.
Our coverage starts tonight at 8:30. We are your home for the Milwaukee Bucks. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
It's 12:01. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News. It's Tuesday, March 18th. Your top story, a high-stakes phone call just wrapping up.
I'm Jessica Tighe. A wildfire in Green Lake County contained.
Cloudy and mild today, a high of 53 in Milwaukee, 60s to the south, 40s to the north. Cloudy tonight and a low of 40 degrees. 49 and cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:02. From the WTMJ Breaking Newsroom, a very important phone call with President Trump and Russian President Putin just wrapping up. CBS's Stacey Lynn is at the White House.
The highly anticipated call began around 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Deputy Chief of Staff Dan Scavino posted on X, the call is going well. President Trump is looking to persuade the Russian leader to sign off on a 30-day ceasefire. Last week, Ukrainian officials agreed to the U.S. proposal during talks in Saudi Arabia, led by Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
The White House and the Kremlin did not offer any immediate details about the substance of that conversation.
President Trump says he wants to see a federal judge in D.C. impeached for putting a restraining order on deportations under the Alien Enemies Act. ABC's Stephen Portnoy has the latest from Washington.
In an extraordinary move for the Chief Justice of the United States, John Roberts has issued a 2-sentence public statement pushing back against the president, who earlier called for the Chief Judge of the Federal District Court here to be impeached. Roberts responded, "For more than 2 centuries, it has been established that impeachment is not an appropriate response to a disagreement concerning a judicial decision." Roberts says that's what the normal appellate review process is for.
On social media, President Trump described that U.S. District Judge as an unelected troublemaker and agitator.
Well, Milwaukee Public Schools began the week with 25 school resource officers officially on the job at 11 different high schools.
MPS and the city of Milwaukee appeared in court for a final hearing.
I'm granting a request from the city to purge or vacate the contempt order. They've complied, so there will be no fines going forward.
Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge David Borowski dismissed the case with a stipulation.
Subject to reopening in this court, not in somebody else's court, but in this court. I'm not going to allow another judge to handle this.
Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
The school resource officers are working in pairs. The president of the Milwaukee Police Association explains why this strategy matters.
You want to have a partner because you always want to work in a pair. My many years in uniform, sometimes you work with a partner, sometimes you don't. And having a partner, I think, is better for both the officers and the students, for personal safety.
These SROs will enforce the law, but not school policy.
A 720-acre wildfire in Green Lake County is now fully contained. 6 homes were evacuated and saved, along with 12 outbuildings. So far, no injuries reported. The Big Island Fire broke out at White River Marsh State Wildlife Area about 4:30 in the afternoon on Monday and burned on state and private lands. Cause of the fire still under investigation. The DNR says there were no approved prescribed burns for that area. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Kind of a rough day here. The Dow is down about 340 points at 41,500. NASDAQ is off about 270 points at 17,540. S&P 500 off about 60 today at 5615. For sound financial advice from a fee-only fiduciary, it's Annex Wealth Management. Go to annexwealth.com and click on the Get Started button today.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 12:05.
Are you over 18 years old, over 280 pounds, and interested in participating in a clinical research study? If so, you may be eligible to participate in a research study involving MRI scanning. You may qualify to participate if you are 18 years of age or older and not employed by GE Healthcare, are able to hear and understand English, are over 280 pounds, are not pregnant, do not have any tattoos or permanent makeup, have no implants with the exception of permanent orthodontic retainers and breast implants. Pierre O'Godden is a principal investigator for the study being held at 3200 North Grandview Boulevard in Waukesha. Study scans are investigational, and the use of these devices has not been cleared by the FDA. The study is not being performed for diagnostic purposes. It is not intended to replace your medical care. Your appointment will last up to 4 hours, and for your time and travel to GE Healthcare in Waukesha, you'll be offered a gift card valued at $80 per appointment at GE Healthcare's MRI facility. To learn more, please call GE Healthcare at 262-312-7855. Again, that's 262-312-7855.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
David Nason here, your trusted Fix-It Show guy, here to give you some essential home maintenance advice. If you're dealing with leaks, stains, cracks in your basement, it's time to call the experts I trust at Accurate Basement Repair. They've fixed many of our listeners' basements, and the results were fantastic. Dry, secure, and peace of mind restored. Don't let basement issues mess up your home. Trust Accurate Basement Repair to get the job done right. Call them today.
Thanks, David. Accurate Basement Repair. We're not just good, we're accurate.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. A 5-game road trip begins for the Bucks tonight in California against the Golden State Warriors. Coverage gets underway at 8:30 on WTMJ. Late night hoops for the Bucks. Meanwhile, former Yankees pitcher and current Brewers starter Nestor Cortes in line to start Game 2 of the Brewers' opening series against the Yankees.
I want to say first week after the spring started, they kind of had me penciled in for that day. I'm excited for that opportunity, and hopefully it goes well.
Brewers take on the Mariners this afternoon in Cactus League play. Hear the game with coverage beginning at 3 o'clock on WTMJ. And a regular season baseball game already in the books. Dodgers and Cubs from Japan. Los Angeles picks up a 4-1 win.
Checking out the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. We do have some breaking news. A new crash that just popped up minutes ago. It's on the exit to 25th Street, Clybourne Street from I-94 West in Milwaukee. And as I am taking a peek at the cameras here, I can tell there is definitely a school bus involved in this one. It looks like a school bus and another car are pulled off to the side, and that's a tight spot right there. There was at one point, just during the commercial as I was taking a peek at this, somebody out walking on the freeway there. That's never a good idea, always dangerous. But here we have breaking news, a new crash on the exit to 25th Street in Milwaukee from I-94 West. A school bus is involved in this one. Hopefully no kids on that bus. Doesn't look like it's a terrible crash, but it is a crash and a school bus is involved.
Traffic is sponsored by the all-new Burghardt Sporting Goods.
The all-new Burghardt Sporting Goods, the Midwest's best baseball and softball training facility and retail center in New Berlin and Fox Point.
Mostly cloudy and mild today. Temperatures topping out in the mid-50s in Milwaukee. 60s to the south, 40s to the north. Cloudy tonight, a low of 40. Rain and storms likely on Wednesday with a high of 53. It is currently 49 and mostly cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:09.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Matzek and Jessica Tighe.
Is it too early to say the Cubs are in last place in the division?
No, never too early, right?
No.
Wasn't I asking you earlier this morning? I'm like, are the Cubs going to be good this year? What's the deal?
Well, it's a good question, right? They certainly spent a lot of money. Last season was a disappointment. They're starting this season in Japan against the Dodgers.
Whoa. I thought the Cubs were always a disappointment.
Well, they seemingly are, except that one year when that one thing happened. But yes, off to an 0-1 start in Japan. They'll play again tomorrow. I like sports at weird times. This game started at, I don't know, like 5 a.m. Like, it's just very strange.
You have said that you like those odd times.
It's different, right? That's why I really like the upcoming tournament because, well, you're going to have games tipping off about 11 o'clock beginning Thursday.
Wait, where's Greg? He's by a TV somewhere.
Yeah, Badgers play at 12:30 on Thursday. Thank you in advance for handling the last half hour of the program.
No, you got to be here.
It's 12:10. Some big stories that we're following here as we flip to the noon hour on a Tuesday.
It's now at noon on Wisconsin's Midday News.
JFK records release. President Trump says his administration will release all of the government files related to the JFK assassination today. We're talking about tens of thousands of records. In fact, the president says it amounts to nearly 80,000 unredacted pages. The release is part of an order he signed during his first week back in office. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has the latest.
The president's announcement that the files would be released today appears to have sparked a scramble overnight at the Justice Department to have attorneys reviewing thousands of papers before they're declassified. Lawyers in the department's National Security Division were emailed just before 5 p.m. yesterday, demanding a second set of eyes on what was described as an urgent project. Sources say the attorneys were up all night, each one scouring over hundreds of pages.
John F. Kennedy was shot and killed back in 1963 while riding in a motorcade in Dallas, Texas. His assassination has long been the subject of conspiracies after Lee Harvey Oswald, the man identified as Kennedy's assassin, was shot and killed just days later.
A major development in the case of a University of Pittsburgh student missing on spring break in the Dominican Republic.
The parents of Sudiksha Kunanki are now asking officials in the Dominican Republic to officially declare their daughter dead. She hasn't been seen for 12 days. Sources say her mother and father sent a letter to police acknowledging there's no evidence of foul play. We could learn today whether authorities will release Joshua Reeby, the man believed to have last seen Kunanki on the beach. He says they were hit by a large wave.
Reeby is a 22-year-old senior. He goes to St. Cloud State in Minnesota. He's been in the DR, held under police surveillance since the incident, even though he's not considered a suspect in the death of the young woman. He's not been accused of any wrongdoing. A hearing is scheduled for 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Well, assuming everything goes to plan, American astronauts Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore will splash down off the Florida Gulf Coast in just a few hours. This will end their unexpectedly long space odyssey. Here's how the trek back to Earth started.
Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore climbed through the hatch of the International Space Station and into the SpaceX Freedom spacecraft last night. Early this morning, Rob Navius at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston announced,
"Undocking confirmed. Freedom is free of its moorings."
Williams and Wilmore, along with fellow American Nick Hague and Russian cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov, began their 17-hour trip back to Earth, with splashdown off the Florida Gulf Coast scheduled for this afternoon. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
And here's what's next for the two.
After 286 days in weightlessness, Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore are looking at extensive rehabilitation over the next several weeks as their 60-year-old bodies reacclimate to the pull of gravity. For her part, Williams will have 608 total days in space. Second among Americans only to Peggy Whitsett, who logged 675 days over her career.
So far, so good. Sonny and Butch on their belated trip home right now. You think they're going, how much longer? How much longer do we have?
Do you sleep on that flight back? It's like 17 hours.
Jim did tell us earlier during our last hour we talked with him, and he did say that they were going to take a nap, which sounds funny, but you got to get your sleep in.
How the heck do you do that? So what is the hardest part when you reacclimate and begin that process? Is it muscle atrophy, trying to get your strength back? Is it your appetite? Is it your sleep pattern? Is there some mental anguish that you sort of go through? That's a long time, right? From 8 days to 9 months.
Putting both of your feet on the ground and walking would just feel a little different. Don't you think?
Well, yes, and I'm sure to some degree they're used to it, but they've never had a mission this long.
Yeah, they're used
to
it. We wouldn't be, but still, it's an adjustment.
Wow.
They're expected to splash down at 4:57 our time, so right before 5.
There you go, 12:14 on WTMJ. Welcome home. It is a Tech Tuesday, our weekly check-in with Mike Dubusky after this.
We've all heard of Larry Bird.
Larry Bird at the buzzer.
Allow us to introduce Derry Bird.
It's A.J. Green splashing a three down from the right wing on the other end of the court. It's a one-point game. Giannis back to A.J. A.J. going to try to answer. Off-balance three, and he hits it. How did he hit that one? The Derry Bird going deep into his bag of tricks there.
We're the home of Derry Bird and the Bucks. WTMJ.
Siding Unlimited, they did it again. They did it again. Siding Unlimited, recognized as the best installers of Pella windows and Pella-related products in the country. That's right. Their 5th National Pella Platinum Premier Certified Contractor of the Year award, Siding Unlimited won it about a month ago in Dallas. That is amazing. That means they've got the experts in the world of installation, along with those incredible Pella products. In fact, they've got incredible products all across the board here to help beautify your home. Shingles for your roof, siding for your house, windows, doors, you name it. Ask them about their patio options, pavers, decks, pergolas, you name it, it's Siding Unlimited. Check them out in Brookfield or visit sidingunlimited.com. They really are the best in the business. They have done a number of projects for us over the years, and they consistently stand by their work and knock it out of the park. Put in some landscape lighting at our home when the weather was popping off nice temperatures about a week ago. Looks great. Can control the colors of the lights with my phone. Welcome Christmas. Red and green around the house in the click of a button. Thanks to Siding Unlimited. Truly siding and a whole lot more. Visit sidingunlimited.com.
Lake Geneva is the Midwest's premier golf destination, featuring breathtaking views, crystal clear lakes, and rolling fairways. Treat yourself to an all-inclusive golf getaway with courses designed for all skill levels, luxurious lodging, distinctive dining, and a relaxing spa. Plan a Lake Geneva group golf outing, a corporate event, or a weekend getaway with friends or family. Their pros will help you plan a memorable golf experience. For info on courses and more, visit lakegeneva.com today. Lake Geneva, it's always been the place for legendary golf.
Mild temperatures today, 53 or high in Milwaukee, maybe hitting 60 closer to the south, 40s to the north, overnight low of 40, rain expected tomorrow, and a high of 54. 50 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:17.
It's Tech Tuesday with ABC News technology reporter Mike Dubusky.
We're not sure if he will be a judge in the upcoming AI beauty pageant, but he is our guest every Tuesday on Tech Tuesday.
The latest and greatest in the world of tech.
Tesla's next product, they call it a robo-taxi. These are AR glasses. They're called simply the Frame.
On Wisconsin's Midday News.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo.
Time for Tech Tuesday, our weekly check-in with ABC News technology reporter. It's our friend Mike Dubusky. Hello, Mike.
Hey guys, how are you?
Doing well. Big day for companies in the Magnificent Seven here. Let's start with Meta. They're going to begin testing a new content moderation strategy. Walk me through this. Why is this important?
Yeah, it's called Community Notes, and this is Meta's new way of moderating content on their platforms. We think back to January when CEO Mark Zuckerberg announced that the company's getting rid of fact checkers and broadly trying to reduce the amount of moderation they do on their platforms. That is to say, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. This Community Note system is kind of the new way that they're approaching moderating potentially harmful or damaging content on those platforms. These are going to be small boxes of information that appear next to certain posts on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, and they're designed to add more context or correct things that might be wrong in those posts. You have to think about viral information that's not necessarily illegal, but has the potential to harm. Things like election misinformation or misinformation related to public health, that type of thing. That's what we're focused on here. These notes are going to be written by a group of volunteers. Meta says they're drawing from a wait list of about 200,000 people who've signed up to be a part of the program. And it's very similar to a system that X uses, formerly Twitter. In fact, Meta's actually borrowing an algorithm from that company, an open source algorithm. That technology is specifically going to be used to ensure that the volunteers who are writing these notes come from a range of backgrounds, with the larger idea here being that people who normally disagree are going to have to come together and coalesce around the language of a note before it shows up on a given post.
So Meta had fact checkers before, though. So what ultimately is the difference between the fact checkers and then now this new community note system? And why does Meta think this is going to be better?
Well, outside of the obvious, which is that fact checkers are subject matter experts, bringing in lawyers and political science experts and virologists and doctors and what have you to ultimately issue a ruling on a piece of content, this is a lot more community-based. And what's more, it's not going to affect whether a piece of content goes viral on the platform. Back in the old system of fact-checking, a doctor would go in and say, yes, this is a piece of misinformation related to COVID-19. Meta should take it down, or it should downrank it in people's feeds. It shouldn't show up in as many people's feeds. A community note has no such power, right? It's just going to appear next to those posts, ostensibly so that people who are looking at it can make their own judgment, right? It's supposed to present a variety of perspectives and put the onus on the person looking at it to ultimately make a judgment about whether that's a piece of misinformation or whether it's something that's actually helpful. Mark Zuckerberg, for his part, says that this is a much less biased way of doing things. He says that they're moving away from fact-checking because the old system made too many mistakes and there was too much censorship on their platforms, and that this is a way to cut down on that as is part of their sort of larger effort to moderate things less. However, there are some problems with community notes that we've seen crop up on X in the past. For one, they're pretty easy to game. People can kind of get together and make sort of jokey notes, and that elevates the sort of profile of the notes and sees the content go more viral because people are talking about the note more than they're talking about the actual post. That's a problem that Meta is going to need to sort out. In addition, there's just the logistical concern in that they take a lot of time to write. People need to agree. People need to agree on certain wording and whether a note is relevant or not. That takes time, and things go viral quickly, which means that there is the potential here for a post that has some real harmful content in it to go viral before a note ever appears, by which point the damage has already been done.
See, I grew up in a day and age where the poke was the biggest thing happening on Facebook.
Oh, the poke! I forgot about the poke.
The poke, I believe, is still around, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
Buried deeply within somewhere in Facebook's settings. You can still poke people.
Oh, the poke is a big deal.
Wow. We're going to have to go and find the poke then.
Who is nudging me?
Mike's getting a poke tomorrow.
All right, fair enough.
Hell yeah. Let's do it.
Let's spin off to Apple, Mike, as we continue on Tech Tuesday here with Mike Dubusky. So Apple unveiled its Apple Intelligence, kind of a slow roll over the course of time. It's now up and running, or is it? How effective is it?
kind of, I think, is the key word here, is that this Apple Intelligence Technologies, this is the branding for Apple's generative artificial intelligence efforts. They were unveiled last year at WWDC in the springtime. They promised these big features that were going to change the way we use our phones and our tablets and our laptops and things like that. A lot of those features have not yet come to fruition, and that is expected to be the main topic at this week's meeting of Apple executives. This is a tradition that stretches back to the Steve Jobs era at Apple. A bunch of executives meet off-site to discuss the future of the company. It's not usually something that we get any sort of closed-door access to. This is a purely internal thing, but the reporting indicates that Apple Intelligence is going to be the big topic here, specifically what to do with it. And the sort of situation here is pretty dire for people who were excited about some of those features. Bloomberg was the first to report that the new AI version of Siri, the AI-infused voice assistant that Apple was touting, that is delayed. Apple confirmed last week that the new features for Siri are not coming anytime soon. That was a huge part of the marketing for specifically the new iPhone, right? There were commercials that included Siri that, just have not come to fruition yet. And we don't even have a release date for that feature yet. It really seems to underline this tension, guys, between Apple's AI team, the people who build the technology, and their marketing division, which used that Apple Intelligence name to sell iPhones not that long ago. A lot of those commercials are now being taken down because the features just don't seem to be ready yet.
I think it really says something when you have Apple execs who are calling Siri's delay ugly and embarrassing. I mean, those are big words.
Those are, yeah. And I mean, it really underlines this sort of tension at Apple that we haven't seen in many years. They were late to the artificial intelligence game. Both Google and Samsung launched AI phones, quote unquote, before Apple did. And Apple Intelligence is unreliable. AI in general is pretty unreliable. Apple has a $3 trillion brand to protect, and that is something that they're concerned about, right? They don't want these mistakes that, maybe Samsung or Google could absorb to affect their own brand, which, as we've said, is very valuable.
And so a closed-door meeting for Apple before their next open to the public and the world meeting. So they got to get this stuff right. I mean, exactly. Billions of dollars are on the line, quite literally, for Apple in this situation.
And don't advertise it if it's not ready yet.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
Right. And the larger context, guys, here is that there was some pressure on Apple to put artificial intelligence into their products and to advertise it because the iPhone really hasn't changed that much in the last few generations. They kind of look the same. They kind of have the same features. There's maybe a new color, a new design update here and there. Cameras get better, that sort of thing. But nothing revolutionary from year to year. Artificial intelligence for smartphone makers was thought of as the way to get people excited about smartphones again. So that clearly was hanging over this as Apple tried to roll out Apple Intelligence, but clearly the technology just doesn't seem to be there yet to a degree that is satisfactory to Apple.
Good information. ABC's Mike Dubusky on a Tech Tuesday. Appreciate it, Mike. Thanks.
Of course, guys. Take care.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano talking with Dr. Mike Nolte at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Doc, a lot of people are hesitant to visit a surgeon for spine care.
The good news is that the vast majority of patients that I see and the majority of conditions that I can see can be successfully treated without surgery. And I don't want patients to think that just because you're seeing a spine surgeon means that you're going to be signing up for surgery. We talk about, in my clinic, kind of a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C.
Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference. OrthoWisconsin.com.
As clutch of a player to ever play basketball.
It's game time on Season 4 of Behind the Bucks on Bucks Plus.
This year I was like, I need to impose myself more on this team.
Explore Damian Lillard's journey to becoming a top 75 player in NBA history.
That's what really had me feeling like this is going to be great.
Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and H&R benefits consultant. Find Bucks Plus on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Dr. Aaron Holtebeck and his team at Holtebeck Eye Center make vision care a top priority. They are your premium provider for eye care and corrective eye surgeries. Dr. Holtebeck has been helping local patients with their eye care needs for over 20 years. Dr. Nausheen Abbas joined the Holtebeck Eye Center team last September, and her practice philosophy is to provide patient-centered medicine by giving all options. Located in Brookfield near the corner of Calhoun and Capitol. Learn more about their services at holtebeck.com.
Debbie Loziga here for Kohler Services. If you've been putting off your bath or shower remodel, now's the time to turn to Kohler Services. Family owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. This month only, get $1,000 off your Luckstone shower remodel and no payment financing until 2026. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with fast professional installation always included. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
Now, about your house. Today, we'll step out onto your deck, where we'll meet Eric Brown, president of Outdoor Living Unlimited, Wisconsin's #1 timber tech and AZEK deck builder. Eric knows decks, so what's with this one, Eric?
Rotting deck boards, missing screws, split lumber are some of the signs your deck is failing. Maybe your deck was never built correctly from the start. I've heard the stories. People who need a new deck come to us all the time explaining their deck is ugly, needs paint. They tell us how they trip on warped boards or are afraid of falling because of loose railings. Sound familiar? They ask us for repair. The reality is they need a new deck, which always leads to that big question: do we repair or do we replace the deck? While we think repairs will be cheaper, the reality is one part of the deck will get repaired while the rest of the deck still fails and still ages and will still need more costly repairs after throwing good money at a big problem. Replacing the deck becomes the real answer. And it makes sense. Starting over allows us to work together in designing what you want. More space, fresh style, creative dimensions. Our composite boards have beautiful colors and styles. Everything to solve the original problem when you said ugly, paint, and warped. Now it's stylish, minimal maintenance, and straight. And you did not have to waste precious time and repair dollars to build the right deck the first time.
Outdoor Living Unlimited is Wisconsin's #1 timber tech and AZEK deck builder. You can get ideas, see pictures and videos, and learn more about Outdoor Living Unlimited on their Instagram page. Go to OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com and see all the services such as decking, pavers, outdoor kitchens, screen rooms, pergolas, even in-ground pools. You can see all of their outside stuff inside at Outdoor Living Unlimited's Outside In showroom in Waukesha.
Coming up on 12:30, I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Tuesday, March 18th. Your top story: work continues to repair a water main break.
I'm Jessica Tighe. How critical is natural gas?
Mostly cloudy and mild today, a high of 53 in Milwaukee, 60s to the south, 40s to the north. Mostly cloudy tonight, a low of 40. Rain and storms are likely on Wednesday. Want to keep an eye on this. Could be a little wintry mix at night, which would linger into Thursday morning.
Nope, we're done with that wintry mix.
Oh, good. Wednesday's high is 53. Thursday's high just 40 degrees. It's 49 degrees and mostly cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:30.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Chief Justice John Roberts pushing back against President Trump's calls for a federal judge to be impeached after halting deportation flights under the Alien Enemies Act. Roberts says impeachment is inappropriate. Meantime, the Justice Department continuing to stonewall the federal judge.
In a written response to Judge James Boasberg, the Justice Department says the administration should not be required to answer his questions, such as how many more alleged gang members might be subject to removal under the Alien Enemies Act. The government calls that sensitive information, bearing on national security and foreign relations. The government's filing says if the judge does order the Justice Department to provide the information, he should only receive it privately in his chambers.
The White House has not released details of the call between President Trump and Russia's leader. The U.S. working to finalize a ceasefire deal between Russia and Ukraine. The Kremlin calling it a frank discussion. Another round of severe storms, including blizzard alerts, issued from Nevada to the Midwest. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 12:31. Crews continue to work on a water main break in West Dallas. It happened near Greenfield Avenue and 58th Street. Repairs expected to be completed by about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Pavement restoration will occur through Wednesday and Thursday.
Decision Wisconsin. It's day one of early voting for the April 1st election.
The early vote period runs from now until March 30th, though each local municipality sets its own early voting process in Wisconsin. Voters who need to register or re-register to vote can only do so at an early voting location through March 28th. Another important deadline is the day before on the 27th. That's the day most voters must make a request for a mail-in absentee ballot by. Those mailing those ballots in should do so at least a week before April 1st to make sure their clerks receive it before 8 p.m. on Election Day. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
In Oak Creek, Buc-ee's is coming? Maybe. Not everyone in the community is on board.
Buc-ee's is a great establishment. I just don't think it was meant to be 1,000 feet close to a residential area. A tourist destination, that's great. We're not Wisconsin Dells.
Yeah, light and noise pollution are drawing significant concerns from residents. The Oak Creek Common Council will consider the comprehensive planned land use category at a public hearing later tonight.
We Energy says natural gas continues to be a critical resource as it looks to combine its usage of wind, solar, and gas. Wisconsin Energy Corps' Dan Kruger on Wisconsin's Morning News.
Our portfolio strategy takes the wind and the solar and the batteries, and it backs them up with quick start, limited duty, very modern natural gas plants.
Kruger says the utility's proposed natural gas plant in Oak Creek would adhere to strict state and federal guidelines.
One of the agencies President Trump is trying to eliminate is responsible for capping your credit card late fees and overdraft fees. The U.S. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau was created in response to the 2008 financial crisis. Economics professor at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, Rebecca Newman.
The beginning of the year was they banned the inclusion of medical bills on credit reports, and medical bills are one of the leading causes of bankruptcy. So they're certainly doing things that are protecting consumers and trying to reduce the amount of fees that consumers are paying.
Court orders have sent the CFPB's consumer response team back to work to process over 16,000 complaints.
I've got some good news when it comes to that crash involving a school bus coming up. Stay tuned for the update. Sports, traffic, and weather right after this. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 12:34.
I'm not against shopping online. In fact, you can check out our huge selection at BurkhartSportingGoods.com. But when you're ready to buy, Burkhart should be your only stop. Because here, you can grab hold of the Midwest's largest selection of baseball bats, gloves, and equipment, and take all the swings you need in our indoor batting cages to make sure you buy the right bat. And when you buy your new mitt, we'll steam and custom fit it for you right on the spot. This is Brian Burkhart, and when you love baseball and softball like we do,
You can't beat Burkhart.
If you're in charge of uniforms and equipment, you want to get the most value for your team's budget. You want the most for your money, and you want the process to be easy. Because you already have enough on your plate. We get it. Burkhart Sporting Goods Team Outfitting Division is the best you'll find. With an abnormally high customer satisfaction rate and our own silk screening and embroidery facility for quality control. So if you want the highest quality team outfitting and incredible service,
You can't beat Burkhart.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guest, Kohler Services and Outdoor Living Unlimited. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
This is Jeff Johnson.
And I'm Jason Johnson.
And together we're part of Johnson & Sons Paving.
Get your parking lot ready now for spring and avoid paying for extra repairs later on.
We'll come out to your property and walk it with you.
Potholes, damaged asphalt, damaged concrete, standing water, you name it. We'll talk to you about your options and fix it.
Plan a budget, set up an overall schedule with Johnson & Sons Paving.
It's all about doing it right the first time. Call us today to schedule a walkthrough and free estimate.
JohnsonandSonsPaving.com.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports desk. The Bucs are on the road. Game 1 of a 5-game Western Conference trip begins tonight against the Golden State Warriors. Coverage gets underway at 8:30 on WTMJ. Freddie Peralta in line to begin the regular season against the Yankees 1 week from Thursday. Former Yankees pitcher Nestor Cortes in line to start Game 2 of that series for the Brewers.
I want to say first week after the spring started, they kind of had me penciled in for that day. I'm excited for that opportunity, and hopefully it goes well.
We'll check in with Dom Cotroneo from Arizona coming up in just a couple of minutes for the latest on the Crew, who are in action this afternoon on WTMJ with coverage beginning at 3 o'clock. And the Cubs are 0-1 Regular season began in Tokyo this morning. Cubs fall to the Dodgers 4-1.
Let's get you an update on those roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. I let you know that I had an update in regards to a crash in Milwaukee that involved a school bus. Fantastic news. That crash has cleared. Didn't look like there were any kids on the bus, so that's good news. That crash is cleared. No other big crashes to let you know about. Just a couple of disabled vehicles that have been out on the system for a little while, and they're not causing any problems.
Mild temperatures, 53 the high in Milwaukee. Might hit 60s to the south, 40s to the north. Overnight low of 40. Rain expected tomorrow with a high of 54 degrees. Going to be chilly on Thursday with a high of just 40. 49 and cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:37. Well, hard to believe that the regular season begins for the Brewers a week from Thursday. Perhaps even harder to believe that the regular season started today for the Cubs and Dodgers.
In Japan.
How
about that?
The first of two games. They're going to play again tomorrow before returning back to the mainland here to get their season up and running. But both those teams play spring training baseball in Arizona. So the Cactus League was shy of a couple teams as of about a week ago. We go to Arizona where Dom Cotroneo is covering all things Milwaukee Brewers. Hey, Dom.
Good morning, Greg. Good morning, Jessica. How are you guys?
Never too early to say the Cubs are in last place in the NL Central. I'm going to ride that as long as it remains a true statement.
It's funny because when you look at the official records, maybe say at the end of the year and whatever happens, let's say that the Brewers actually don't spend any days in solo first place. It still counts. This is still a day in first place today. You know, it's 0-1 on the other side, so it helps at the end of the year.
No doubt about it. So let's run through what's happening with the Milwaukee Brewers. Obviously getting close to crunch time here, and that initial roster will be set. But injuries seem to be popping up with some notable names here, Dom.
Very notable. So today we just got an update on Bryce Terang. He had an MRI yesterday, had it read very quickly. Nothing major worried about with his throwing shoulder. He's going to be shut down for a couple of days as they make sure that he is good to go for opening day. This stems from him making the throw from shortstop now because that, as it turns out, seemed to have been plan A for the Brewers, is to put Bryce Terang at short and Joey Ortiz at second base. Now, that's not going to be the case on opening day. Bryce will go back to second, assuming his health is okay when he comes back from this little shoulder mishap, but he's going to be fine. Tobias Myers is going to start the season on the injured list due to an oblique strain. He was told us that it was a grade 1 strain. He's not super worried about it, but the timing of it is the reason why he has to go on the injured list. He'll be shut down for a week and then reevaluate. And on top of all that, you still have the pre-existing injuries to Brandon Woodruff, to Aaron Ashby, and to D.L. Hall. So this is why we all say bubble wrap at this point of spring training.
Bubble wrap, yeah. Wrap those guys up. We don't want them hurt. I just learned, well, looking ahead here, you got Freddie Peralta. He's getting ready for his second straight opening day start. And thanks to Brewers' social media, this morning I learned that Freddie Peralta prefers Spider-Man over Batman, gum over seeds, and day games versus night games. But Dom, I'm curious, what do you think we should know about Freddie Peralta as he heads into his second straight opening day start this season?
I think Freddie Peralta is the underreported, underrated captain of this team, and here's why. Christian Yelich is undoubtedly, the public-facing captain. He's the guy that signed the extension. He's staying here. He's the left fielder. He's the MVP. We get that. But in that clubhouse, that is Freddie Peralta's clubhouse and Brandon Woodruff's clubhouse. Those two guys, the most experienced pitchers on this staff. I mean, Brandon Woodruff's the most longest tenured. Freddie Peralta is one step behind him, too. And the reason why I say Freddie as a captain, as a leader, and as he's grown, we've all talked so much about Willie Adames' departure from this team and his leadership capabilities. Well, that has been passed on to Freddie Peralta. And it wasn't that Freddie wasn't a leader last year. It wasn't his requirement with all the veterans on this club. And the number one thing about Freddie is his connection to both sides of the clubhouse, meaning he's bilingual, meaning he's able to connect with everybody. I mean, today I took a moment to just appreciate watching him say hello to everybody. He's sitting in the ring of sofas in the clubhouse, and next to him is Jose Quintana, who's from Colombia. Next to his left is Nestor Cortez, who has Cuban roots. Across from him is his Venezuelan teammates Jackson Churrillo and William Contreras. I'm just like, that's what a captain's supposed to be able to do, to be able to talk to everybody on the club.
That is great. And real quick, out of curiosity, Dom, for you, Spider-Man or Batman?
Let's do Spider-Man.
Okay, same.
Yeah. No, this stuff got to get fleshed out before the season begins.
I actually would have chose Batman, but I see he's going with Freddie Peralta.
You're surprised to hear that Freddie likes day games more than night games.
Yeah, I don't know the reason why. I just know
love
the
day
answer.
games. I love day games. I absolutely love day games. I think it's just like you get it in, you get it. You can go have a good big league dinner that night. Yeah, I'm all in on day games.
So hey, let me ask you this, Tom. How many spots are there really available for the opening roster, the initial roster, I like to call it, not the final roster, but are there really any spots up for grabs at this point?
There are more than you think, and here's why. The bullpen, it seems pretty set in stone when it comes to the fact that they're going to need length, especially with not knowing how much longer Jose Quintana is going to need to build up. Obviously, the injuries to Tobias and to Ashby set them back, but when you look at the bullpen, you've got a Rule 5 pick in Connor Thomas. Now, normally that's like a big roster spot that we always look to, meaning if this player doesn't make the roster, this is the Rule 5 rules, is that he has to be returned to the team that you picked him from. So he's going to make the team because they need the innings out of him. Tyler Alexander might start for the Brewers in the home opener. We don't know that for certain yet. Then you still have kind of questions of who's the last man in the bullpen. Is Craig Yoho going to make this team? The roster crunch makes that really difficult because he's not on the reserve 40-man roster, which means a corresponding need to be made. And then finally, on the position player side, the question is the three non-roster invite guys, Mark Canha, Manny Margot, Jake Bowers. The way that their contract works is that they actually are allowed to opt out of their contract come Friday. If they are not informed, they're going to make the team. Now, not everybody's going to automatically opt out, but if they choose to opt out, they become a free agent again, and maybe another team is interested in their services.
So we have, looking at the calendar here, 13 days until the home opener here in Milwaukee. What do you like right now from what you're seeing down there at spring training, and what maybe needs some tweaking or finessing?
Number one, the finessing, the tweaking is just the innings, is the pitching. It's just who's going to be available in this first week. And it seems like we're all freaking out about the first week of games, but if health goes according to plan, if things go according to plan, that come the first week of May, we're all going to be sitting here laughing. It's like, remember when we were panicking about the depth of this rotation, because hopefully by then Quintana's fully built up. You'll have Tobias Myers back. And on top of that, maybe Ashby is throwing again. Maybe Brandon Woodruff's getting closer to his return. So there is always depth, but we are monitoring the innings right now. As far as what I've loved, it's Jackson Chourio. Oh, my goodness. The spring that he's had compared to last spring when we were so enamored with, oh, could this 20-year-old make the team? What's he got to do to prove it? He was just a quiet, shy, brace-faced kid trying to come into his own. Now you just see the game slowing down for him and having fun and having a smile on his face. And I think that's the biggest story right now for the Crew, is the fact that the wonderkind Chourio, as they trusted him to give him this deal, give him this extension. And I know the first half wasn't pretty, but man, he's looking a lot like the guy in the second half last season.
Well, I know it's spring training, but he's also hitting about 500. I don't care what level of baseball you're playing. That's a good thing.
The offense looks great, not just from Jackson, but I mean him especially. Reese Hoskins looks particularly healthy and strong, and a full year removed from his ACL, and now a dad as well. Congratulations to him. I think of Reese. I think of Chourio. Another guy, I mean, we just haven't really, dove into the fact that Sal Frelick could have some more power this season. He's already got a couple homers this spring. He's been hitting the ball hard everywhere he looks. I think the offense is in really good hands right now.
Good stuff. Always fun to check in with Tom Cotroneo from Brewers Spring Training in Arizona. Had some good news from Brandon Woodruff earlier this week. So things progressing as the Brewers get ready for that road opener in New York, then the home opener at the end of March. Dom, appreciate it. We'll check in again soon.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, you bet. 12:45 in WTMJ. I looked that up today. I just saw something in Adam McCalvy's timeline that Jackson Chourio is batting just under 500 in spring training. Like, jeez. Did he ever stop, right? After he got so hot last year in the playoffs, he's amazing. No slump, it would appear, throughout the course of March.
I got one more question for you. Hot coffee or iced coffee?
I like iced. You know that.
See, I know that. Yeah, and I know Gina's answer, too. Guess what Freddie Peralta picked?
Hot.
No, he picked ice too. Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah, pickleball or ping pong.
Ping pong.
Yeah, he picked ping pong.
Definitely a ping pong guy.
It's nice to get to know our guys a little bit better.
I've seen him play it in the clubhouse.
Oh, you have?
He's very good. Ryan Braun was maybe the best ping pong player I've ever seen.
Really?
In that Brewers clubhouse.
Was he speedy? You
just couldn't get anything by him.
Yeah.
Couldn't get anything by him.
Oh, I like that. Fun little nugget.
Yeah, they like to play. 12:46 on WTMJ. Summerfest with its final headliner announced today. That means the full lineup is set. We'll recap it for you after this.
WDTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for QC Kinetics. You know, I get a lot of questions about QC Kinetics treatments, people asking if they should consider it for their own joint pain. Well, here's how you know. If you answer yes to any of these questions. Is your quality of life impacted by chronic pain in your knees or hips or shoulders or other joints, trouble sleeping or walking? Do you want to avoid surgery, a long recovery, and uncertainty that comes with it? And most importantly, do you miss doing the things you love because joint pain is holding you back? If you answered yes to any of these questions, don't wait. Call now. Call QC Kinetics and ask for your free consultation and learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can help you get lasting relief. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs feature helps you stand out and hire fast. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
When you come to Kendor Marine, you'll find parts you didn't even know you needed. And if you're a boating enthusiast, like I know you are, then you're going to love wandering the aisles here. We've staked our reputation on thinking just like you. So we know what you need now and what you're going to need later to keep your boat in tip-top shape. This is Dave Doro, and boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
KendorMarine.com.
Hey boaters!
We have the go-to marine store. And it's not just because we have all the boat parts and supplies you'll ever need, including oddball parts you thought you'd never be able to find. And it's also because we're cheaper than the other guys too. So why shop anywhere else? This is Dave Doro from Kendor Marine. Boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
So how is that possible? 1.9% real estate commission? There must be something you're not telling me.
I hear that a lot. The truth is, everybody could do it, but they choose not to because folks keep paying more than they have to. I guess they just haven't heard yet that Century 21 Benefit Realty can make that 1.9% real estate commission promise on the sale of your home and stick to it. So I'd like to think that's going to make your decision easy. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
But wide-ranging temperatures today. 40s to the north, 50s in Milwaukee, 60s to the south, overnight low of 40. Expect to see some rain, maybe some storms on Wednesday with a high of 54. Thursday's high just 40 degrees as we cool off. 49 and mostly cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:49.
Well, this is exciting. The Summerfest lineup is complete. Remember, there was just one night left to be announced for the American Family Insurance Amphitheater, and we now know who will perform. This morning, Summerfest announced Bad Omens is the big headliner on Friday, July 4th. So full disclosure, all three of us this morning were like, Bad Omens. And I always think I like a good variety. I like almost all genres of music. And you're fairly widespread.
Yeah, I'm all over the place, yeah, for sure.
So we know some of you are like, Bad Omens? What? Well, here, the quartet is described like this. Bad omens slither through boundaries, only to ultimately choke convention in the process. But there you go, whether you like them or not. Bad Omens is filling out the Summerfest lineup for the AmFam Amphitheater, and they have special guest, We Came as Romans.
Okay, of course. There we go. Bring the kids. So now the lineup is complete, and I'm going back. I'm trying to remember the first announcement. I think it was Def Leppard. Is that right?
That sounds familiar. I had my little calendar. I kind of made a fake calendar, and I would just plug it in. So it's really exciting to put in today the final piece of that puzzle.
Quite a puzzle it is. So this is a wide-ranging collection of artists, as you might expect for Summerfest on their headlining stage.
And you mentioned Def Leppard. That is a big one because that is the first night of Summerfest this year, Thursday, June 19th. The next night, Friday, June 20th, Hosier.
Take me to church, I worship like a dog at the shrine of your life. I'll tell you my sins and you can sharpen your knife.
A really interesting artist. I feel like this song was popular maybe 8 years ago.
Has it been that long?
I know. I'm not great with time, but yes, it's been a minute.
Oh, wow.
But yes, I mean, a really intriguing, different sort of artist. A lot of interesting stuff. Everything sounds anthem-like from him.
I'm interested in going to see this one. In fact, since this group was announced, or he was announced, I've been playing it from time to time on a Sunday at home just to learn more. I'm intrigued. James Taylor is Saturday, June 21st, so rounding out that first of the 3 weekends. I have seen James Taylor at Summerfest, and I mean, he's just classic.
James Taylor is like an every-year performer, it feels like, at Summerfest, right? There's a handful of those, like, oh, James Taylor's coming back. If you missed him, I know it's been a little bit, but he's been a popular Summerfest headlining stage act in years past.
I think it was a couple years ago I saw him. He's coming with Jason Mraz, though, who's very good. The second weekend, Thursday, June 26th, the big headliner, Lady Wilson. Country star.
I got a heart like a truck. It's been drugged through the mud.
Got to mention the truck there if you're going to be a country artist. That's par for the course.
And typically a beer, too.
Yeah. Well,
you're drinking a beer.
Get to that.
Right?
We get to that. I got to be honest. The one that stands out to me is the artist that I would pay to go see. I missed out the Killers when they opened up Fiserv Forum a few years back.
Yeah,
I missed
that was
out
a
on
big
that
deal.
show. Yeah, I heard it was a great show. It's a good band. They've been around for a while, too. I'm getting to that point where bands that I like to listen to are going on 20 or 30 years old, but that's okay.
That's okay.
But I still like it, and it's a big get. The Killers are still a main act. They play a lot in Vegas. They play world tours. Coming to Milwaukee that's not a small thing, their presence at Summerfest.
Yeah, and the Killers are Friday, June 27th. Coming up on Saturday, June 28th, you got Megan Thee Stallion. And then for the next weekend, so that final weekend, that's the weekend that you have July 4th in there as well. Thursday, July 3rd is Benson Boone, who he had that big performance, what was it, like a month and a half ago, where he was in the tight outfit. And he was jumping all around, doing like acrobatics as he was singing this.
So Benson Boone's got an interesting story. So he goes back to like American Idol days.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah, so Benson Boone he was in the mix to go to Hollywood, right? He advanced to that stage. If you know how American Idol operates, that's when the show really becomes real. People are in Hollywood. They ultimately vote on who the winner is, but he bailed. Once they got to the Hollywood, he bailed out. He said, nope, I'm not going to have my music subject to whatever contract I'm signing here. I want my music to be my music.
I remember hearing about that, and smart guy.
It's a gamble.
He's blowing up now.
No doubt. It's a gamble, but it paid off.
I always feel like we're getting old when all of a sudden, when Benson Boone was announced, I was like, Benson Boone? I don't think I know Benson Boone. But I do. I know this song, and I love this song. And there's another one, too. But Summerfest is, I feel like a lot of times, if the older generation doesn't know who these people are, in some cases, Summerfest is really ahead of the game. Sometimes these people are just about to pop and go huge.
Every once in a while, you get to that Miller Lite Oasis act that you just all of a sudden the Oasis takes up half the grounds of Summerfest, and it plugs a seed into the mind of those who organize the fest, saying, all right, we got to move them. They're too big.
Yeah.
They are too big for this stage now. That happened to Imagine Dragons. It happened to Widespread Panic, Ben Harper back in the day. So they've had to move acts that next year to the amphitheater because they didn't anticipate the crowds that showed up for the side stage act. It became too much. It was overwhelming. You couldn't move.
Well, and it is really cool, too, to see the history of some of these artists with Summerfest, because they do pop up first on a side stage, and then as they grow, they end up at the amphitheater. They know Summerfest. They know Milwaukee. They know the lakefront. They know the crowds. I think that's really cool.
Looking forward to the fest. The 3-weekend format returns this summer. Out of time in the program, reminder that you can subscribe to the Wisconsin's Midday News podcast. We'd love it if you did. Just text the word Midday to our talk and text line 855-616-1620. Gets you all the info sent right to your mobile device. The podcast built by Siding Unlimited. Truly siding and a whole lot more.
And by the way, the last night of Summerfest, the big headliner, the Lumineers.
There you go. 12:56 news coming up, followed by Spanning the State.
When we're out in your town, come say hi to us as we broadcast live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
Anytime you hear us when we're out on the road, you can find us live from our brand new